guys
And they are packed.
were able to pretty accurately estimate that you were, I think it was like 5 to 6 hours of hiking remaining to get through these winding interior halls of Mount Ainaru before you reach its control center, where you are expecting a meeting with Nazira's alternate self. A mere clone, she calls it.
In my writing, I've learned, because that was true. He took my clothes, so I started calling her a reason.
What'd you call it?
A reason? A reason?
A reason?
Zero backwards?
A reason.
I like it.
Oh, fantastic.
Because it was too much to keep writing the description.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I need a name.
Yeah.
Cool. So
Okay.
we should go for at least a little while and then
Mark.
take a nap?
Yes.
I did have a question for you. Did we ever get the names of these two individuals, the keepers that we're going with?
I don't believe you ever asked.
We're really bad at introducing ourselves.
Chloe would ask. Chloe
Yeah.
wants to know.
You awake them out of their apparent reverie as they slip back into themselves as they wait for you guys to, we'll say like this is like as you guys are getting underway again, we'll just, maybe go back 15, 30 seconds of the game. And yeah, they are, even as like you guys have been making quite this commotion with this fight with the living furniture, they are exactly where you left them, having maintained whatever strange dreamlike state they've been in, and are not quite startled by your approach and your questioning, or you're like beginning to talk with them, Quilla.
Yeah.
But as if like coming out of like a dream, like among company like that you weren't that's not unexpected. It's just like coming out of a dream. It's like, oh yes, sorry. You were saying?
My apologies. I don't think I ever asked your name. We were so busy before with questions. What's the best way to address you?
If you wish, you can refer to us as Samsarans, but individually, we do have names.
What are your names?
My name is Melefloen.
Malevolent?
Melefloen. And I am for Silas.
And for Silas? Nice to meet you both.
Can you spell that, Mark?
Yeah,
What was the other one?
Melefluan.
UAM, okay.
UAN.
Okay. MELLEFLAUAM.
Melefluan.
I feel like the DM's just trolling us at this point.
Hey, this is an ancient name from a time long forgotten. It's not my fault it sounds a little funny to your ears.
And for Silas?
Yeah, for Silas.
And what was the other one's name?
For Silas.
And I already knew this, but what they're called what's
Samsarans.
Samsarans.
Spell that second name for me too.
FORSYLLAS.
Okay. Sorry, sometimes the sound isn't perfect, so.
Melefluan.
Perfect.
Shall we continue on then? I think our party's ready. at least for a while.
Well, don't hesitate to let us know if you need to stop again. We know how tired your aging bodies can become.
They do.
You get tired?
When you have lived as many lives in as many bodies as we have, the demands of the flesh become less poignant.
Not your body? And he like kind of pokes at the body.
They they're like barely like sort of like twitch aside. They don't even like move their feet from where they're like standing. Like, please stop. Give me a perception check, Greg.
Oh, and
Nat 20 for a 28.
We have so many games start with nat 20.
Yeah, that's
I think Mother started with, yeah, man, alright. What's the total?
28.
28?
Yeah.
You poke, which one do you poke? Maleficent? You poke Maleficent. And there, it seems like there's a slight disconnection between what you see and what you feel. You poke them and like your finger goes a little bit past where their robe is, and then it hits their flesh, and it looks like your finger's just the fingernails like passing through their robe. But when you touch, the sensation is what you're expecting.
You're not real.
Oh, we are quite real.
I think what Gray, my friend Gray might mean is that we've noticed that this is not your natural form. Sarah has something.
If I were to disfigure and mangle your flesh, would your natural form change? Would who you are change?
I mean, no, but, well, maybe, but, no, it's just we noticed that your appearance is magical?
We supplement our appearance to be more in line with who we are.
Okay. I meant no offense. Gray just noticed, and I had noticed too. If this is how you want to present yourself, I think that's fine.
It is.
Show self. I want to see.
Gray. Some things are private or personal. It's okay if they don't want to.
We follow in mountain. Need know who. Show self.
we are putting a great deal of trust in them.
Give me a persuasion check. Does anybody want to aid Gray in this? Help Gray perhaps refine the argument.
What do you mean? That's a solid argument.
I think Nazira, you definitely threw something in there that might be appropriate.
Our mortal friends are putting a great deal of trust in you, and I think it would go a long way to assist their trust were we to start out this relationship with more transparency.
You guys can give me a persuasion check. Nazira, you can roll one as well.
Please roll better than I did.
You want me to roll, or do you want Gray to have it?
I want you to roll as well.
Okay.
It's probably a better idea.
Yeah.
1 second, let me find my dice. My D20, and then I have my dice here. That's one that rolls well.
Gotta pick the good one.
Yep.
Gotta pick your horse.
Yeah. Yep.
That's why
16.
we actually need fans to like be tallying like the results of our rolls. So and then we can like tell them which dice we're using, so we get actual
Right.
stats for like which dice actually roll.
Exactly.
See which of
Their stats.
Jessica's dice are loaded. I'm sorry, you got a 16?
It's better than my 5.
Okay. They look consternated at you for a moment, Gray, and soften somewhat at Nazira's words. They say, it is perhaps unfair of us to dismiss what mortals need to see to understand. You may look upon us, but know that these are but vessels, imperfect as they are. And the illusion magic drops with a shimmer, and while their stature, general shape of their bodies does not change, you can see that first of all they are both wearing like masks, almost like doll masks of like humanoid like faces, not doll masks, but like a ceramic sort of like mask. That is it, just like with no and a neutral expression over their faces. Below that, you can see that each of them has some variation, some amount of like strange like growths and like strange long hairs that grow and protrude out of parts of their body, like thick hairs, and their bodies are both somewhat malformed, and you can see that they both kind of like walk with like one like a little bit of a hunch and like a twist in their shoulders and spines. Both of these people are somewhat malformed in some way. Much of what they have is still covered by what still and truly are very finely made like silken clothing, but their illusory magic was indeed like hiding these malformations of their bodies.
Gross. Gray wipes like dirty finger off on his dirty clothes. He whacks away.
Xerox
Sarah does.
elbow.
Do
Gray
they
a little
still
bit.
look like elven? Do they still have elven sort of builds or features?
It's so hard to tell. Like if these were, I mean, you can imagine these being like, mutated or malformed elves, but not like any that you've seen before for sure. And they haven't claimed elven ancestry, but like you can still like it's still within the realm of plausibility. It's just harder to identify these people as any specific race, given all these strange malformations and like goiters and like look like tumorous bits. You can see one of them has like flesh like expanding out past the side of their head. You can see like the edge of like an eye socket stretching past the mask that they're wearing.
Do they seem to be the same in their masks, just less grotesque, or is it like
the masks are doing a good job of disguising whatever is going on with their faces. It might be a logical assumption that the mask's purpose is to disguise, even without the aid of illusory magic, grotesqueries of the face, but that's left to the imagination at this point.
Yeah. And they don't seem like when they have their magical disguises up, they don't seem like they have they're not like totally different types of beings. They're like different
No,
heights
they
or
both
anything.
they both
Just
still look
mess.
humanoid, tall, relatively like thin,
Yeah.
but just with these like strange like malformities and grotesqueries
Sure.
of their body.
So like using the magic to cover up the deformities or
Mhm.
whatever is going on with them, not
Seems like
to change who they are necessarily.
not fundamentally.
Yeah.
It seems to be certainly well within the limitations of like common disguise self magic, which
Sure.
can't do more than a couple feet and can't like
Right.
change like a humanoid into a beast or
Sure.
anything like that.
Okay.
So it seems like well within the confines of that sort of magic.
Okay.
Mhm.
We thank you. It does go a long ways for you to reveal yourselves to us.
Okay, I trust.
It is less a discomfort with the appearance of these bodies and more that who we are is better represented by these forms, these illusory forms. This body is just one of many that I have had. And when its task is done, it will return to me. And I will discard it fully. Or rather, reintegrate it into myself.
Do you know, if you don't mind me asking, what has caused this body to change like this? Become like this?
Give me a persuasion check, Quilla. Charisma cannon over here.
16 plus I think 7 or 10. Yeah, plus 10, so it's at 26.
22.
20.
Yeah.
Sorry, remind me exactly what your question was.
My question was how they got there, or
That's right.
what caused their forms the bodies to change like this or degrade like this.
Say that we found that our long focus in the interior life has left room for other influence into the physical. Our transcendence has required us to make changes to ourselves. Some unintended results of that have been a slowly increasing instability in our physical forms that we manifest. But, well, now that your sister has returned to us, this isn't a problem anymore, for our transcendence is nigh. And we needn't worry over these physical bodies much longer.
Your transcendence is nigh.
Soon.
Happy emphasis. Alright.
Oh yeah, we were talking about we were on our way to some Astorium Recollectium or something. We were on our way to something.
Storium Recollectium.
That's
I'm gonna say that for using some term.
I don't remember the name of it, but the mountain ship is heading there.
You're referring to, I think, the same thing that Nazira or Sarah just said was the Apoaxis Reverie.
Yes, that's the one. I nailed it, man.
Mark,
Yes.
speaking of, is there
Oh, are you there? Hey, Sarah! Sarah, stop! Oh, my computer's running out of batteries, I guess.
No.
It gets low on batteries, like video calls just like die. Hey, can you hear me?
Did you get what I what?
Literally none of it. My computer started to die, so I got it plugged in now. But all we got was that you were beginning to say something.
Yes, Zira searches her memory to see if she can remember her star charts well enough to know like what body would be in Apoapsis or approaching Apoapsis.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a intelligence check, or actually just make it a history check.
History?
Yeah. Oh, that's too close to the edge of the counter right there.
26.
26. When you consider this Apoapsis Reverie, now that like you've come to understand like what it connotates, the highest point of an orbit of one body around another, you think about the world and the two astral bodies in orbit, or at least sometimes in play with it, are the two moons. The one old reliable Luna and the very, very unreliable Rafa.
Old unreliable?
With that intelligence check, you begin to like definitely grow concerned. Like, if of the relevant bodies this could be describing, if this is talking about either of the two moons, you guys are sailing far, far away from the world. If, however, you think if this is referring to the mountain itself, or that all this stuff has been somewhat related to the panopticon system, so you think that this has more likely something to do with the mountain itself reaching a point in its ascendancy, or its artificial orbit, or what?
Okay. The reason I had to dismiss that is because it wasn't really in orbit before. It was just like dragging along the ground.
The last we'd heard is it was going straight up, and it's been going straight up this entire time.
Yeah.
We're probably, I would
So
assume
where
at this
the question
point.
is,
Yeah.
Very
sorry,
high.
what was that?
I assume we're very, very high up at this point.
Yeah.
And
I mean, but there's no reason to be afraid of going up because, like, there's no reason to believe that there's no air up there and that it's warm. Like, it's ether.
I mean,
good.
even Gray has gone up high enough as a bird to know that air does run out.
But how far can a bird? I don't think a bird can go up that high. They can tell changes of temperatures, right? The air gets thin, but
I think we looked it up at one time, and geese get up to something crazy, like 18,000 or some crazy amount.
plus they've been really high with Shippy already and never had a problem with air.
Right. I mean, who knows? We don't know if this holds gravity like Shippy does or what. But
Yeah.
anywho, we're following these people.
Maybe air is relative to whatever body you're attached to.
Gray certainly would not be thinking about it at this point.
The two Sanctarans reactivate their illusions over their bodies, and their benign expression returns. And now that you see that it is overlaying a mask that carries much the same expression, it hardly any illusory magic is needed on the face at all. And you guys, unless there's anything else, will begin again the journey into the mountain.
Yeah. Unless you want to take a little food.
Yeah, definitely. Let's take a break. We got some food delivered, so why don't we take like a 15?
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Yeah, and we'll just leave this on so you can enjoy our company and we can see you and stuff as well.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
When they say that about my sister saving them or whatever, I'm going to be going to say, if you don't mind, what has she told you about herself? I'm very interested to know.
She told us many things, but we know her more from the fruits of her time with us than stories of her past. It was her cousin, I guess, that gave us this gift, the gift of life. As you elves are so fortunate to experience it in all of its many and repeating forms.
Which cousin was that? We have such an extensive family.
Roshni, of course.
Ah, okay. That's interesting.
Yes, she showed us how to bend and extend the arcs of our lives. A gift that so many elves would seek to keep solely for themselves. She was truly gracious with this gift.
I think she found a French fry.
But when your clone came, you or she truly showed us the way to our goal. While Roshni gave us our first glimpse into what we could achieve, it was your clone that helped us build the way. Make changes to the mountain. Make use of it for a greater purpose.
What is she calling herself these days?
She said that she's been known as Vitaria.
Oh. You see a kind of almost a little smile play across Zera's face, like not like when someone recognizes something well done, even if it was done against us.
Hmm.
Like a good con artist or something.
Yeah. Game recognizing game.
Anything. Just, okay. And, what makes you certain you can trust her?
She has shown herself to be our ally over the ages. Trust has already been proven with time.
How?
What she has said she would do for us, she has done.
And you're certain she's not working towards some other end and using your trust as a means to get there.
I'm sure Vittoria has goals of her own. I do not believe that ours and hers entirely align in all respects. But I do believe that we will see our transcendence through our alliance with her. And it is fast approaching.
And tell me more clearly what you plan to do with the people on the surface when this happens.
Oh. We've discussed this already to some degree. There will always be people on the surface, though the Apoapsis Reverie may draw some of them into the core, where they might find safety. Do not know entirely all of what to anticipate. This will be a novel use of the mountain, though one we have aimed towards for long millennia.
What is the mechanism by which you plan to do this? Typically, transcendence or ascendance require a great deal of belief, from my understanding. That is how it is usually done.
Belief. Belief is merely
Or
a
sacrifice.
suspended state of mind. Belief
But
can be whatever we
specifically
need
belief
it
of
to be.
others.
We talked at the same time. Belief will be what we need it to be.
I nod. And just say, from my understanding, it specifically requires the belief of others, not of oneself.
Well, perhaps even you will learn something.
It seems to have some technological means to bypass this.
All of this will become apparent as you see it become reality.
I would like to try to make an insight check to see if they even know themselves.
Sure. Give me an insight check.
Oops. Wow, that's a 20. Natural 20. Plus 0.
They are responding to an increasingly aggressive interrogation by by putting up walls and not sharing anymore.
I will say, I apologize. I'm merely concerned for you, for those on the surface, for my friends here. I know that in certain circumstances, people like Arushni or Vitaria might willingly sacrifice those they use in order to achieve their own ends. And I know that they have a long view of things. And if they're practicing a deception like that, they would keep that in mind for millennia.
Keep your concern for yourself and your friends and trust others to look after themselves. We too have a long view of history and our own plans. We will not see them thwarted by the whims of anyone, elf, queen, or other.
Grace sees the situation getting a little tense, and we'll kind of just pop in. No more words. Go see. Follow.
Yeah, you guys are all walking. This is a walking
Okay,
talk for sure.
So your hearts will let out a kind of a.
Gray pulls up. Look, bug.
I just mean that I didn't mean to offend you. My apologies.
You would, in the future, be better served by speaking that first, rather than making or voicing your assumptions. You hear Beep Boop say something about assumptions from last session.
Always assume you're right.
The journey continues on in what feels like perhaps some awkward silence for some period. The space that you've been traveling through has begun or has been transitioning again from access and work tunnels and such to occasionally bisecting huge highways of access through this mountain. Places where immense machines or innumerable people could pass through with ease. Halls that are hundreds of feet wide and as tall as well. These enormous veins or arteries through this mountain. And yet these, according to the schematics, are certainly thoroughfares to some extent, but still are not the sort of express access that you've seen described on the map or on the schematic, running vertically through this, near the center of the mountain. And oh my God, Aisha. Yeah,
I'll just, yeah.
Do you need this?
Yeah.
For anything? Probably.
Yeah, I'll put it in the closet downstairs. Just a hungry doggy.
And soon you find yourselves, after passing one or two of these like such arteries of transportation, you find your guides moving on to one of them and following it deeper into the mountain. They say, "We are on our final approach. From what you've said, Nazira, this meeting may be stressful for you. I wanted to ensure that you all had ample time to prepare yourselves."
I think we do want to rest before we get there. If we might.
Of course.
Are we close? Are we close?
Won't be long now. Down this passageway here.
Remember, we're just mortals, so won't be long might mean something different for you than for us.
Yes.
Approximately how much time until we arrive?
I suspect it will not be more than another hour or two at the most.
So why don't you give us a few moments of rest here?
Of course.
Step away so I can confer with my companions. Trying to be quiet.
What do you all think?
Great, not tired.
Is that alright?
Could use at least a short rest.
How are you injured?
Not very.
So I'll remember to speak
Why don't
up a little
we
bit
take
for
a
some
few
people.
Not very.
to rest right over here, my friends. Please come this way.
Mostly I would like to regain a few spell slots, but I can do that within an hour or so.
What was that, Carly? I can't hear you.
I'd like to regain a few spell slots, but I can do that within an hour or so.
I too could take a brief rest.
Do we need a full, or?
I mean, if they're going to give it to us, well, I don't see why not. But
Yeah.
Nazira is looking at you guys like, not a full rest.
not a full rest. Okay, then let's
Giving you
take an hour.
we need to confer away from them. Look.
Oh yeah, you can definitely be considering this conversation some distance away from them at this point, for sure.
Okay. All right. I think we're approaching very quickly. I think the reason they keep asking us to rest is because they want to make sure this thing happens. And the longer we take, the closer it gets to happening.
So you think we should
Also-
just go through?
I don't know if any of you are aware of upland lore, but Arushne is the name for Loth, the goddess of the drow, the traitor elves.
Gray, no.
Insight check.
Then should we just proceed? Interrupt them as quickly as we can.
That might be the best. I'm not in the best shape magically, but I think that might be the best option. I would have liked to have a chance to rest, but I think with the speed of the approach,
Then
we need to figure out what's going on.
let us carry on. Let's see what there is to see. Stop what we need to stop. And what happens will happen.
Vitaria, this other self, has been guiding and manipulating my interaction with my memories ever since I first discovered them in Fendos Bay in the Gloomwood. I imagine she was also behind preventing me from accessing them in the first place when I was younger. I believe these people are being deceived. I think we have been running a scam on them for a very long time.
Then we may have
I
allies.
do not think that there is transcendence awaiting.
Then upon
Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
upon this revelation, we may find ourselves with a few more allies. If your
My
suspicions are
suspicion is-
concerned. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead again.
No, you go ahead this time. Yeah.
My suspicion is that at the key point of the event, the psionic vortex will consume all. I could be wildly correct. I am often. Apparently.
We trust your instincts. Let's carry on and again, what will happen will happen.
Do we want to take a 1 hour rest? It is still a couple hours before we get there. I think we might be alright with 1 hour.
Alright.
I say this looking at Quilla especially because she said she wanted to.
Because you know warlock mechanics.
I mean, I can blast people with lots of Eldritch Blasts all day, but that means you'll have to do most of the heavy lifting with, other spells.
We all know Quilla gets cranky without a break every once in a while, couple times throughout the day.
Quilla gets hangry. It's a snack.
I could definitely use a limited rest as well.
Okay. Then let's do that and then carry on.
Gray lets out a little sigh. Great bug hunt! And he just kind of starts wandering around looking for bugs for the next hour.
Alright. I mean, it's probably a good idea. We're going up against maybe getting into something quite powerful.
Yeah.
So ahead of the short rest that we're going to take, I'll go ahead and kind of do performance. So we get an extra 1d10 hit die for the rest.
Nice.
Oh yeah. And it's a 1 hour.
Yeah, short rest.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Assuming we get the full short rest.
Spell slots back.
More importantly, just Gray to find any bugs on his bug hunt.
Roll was actually my wild idea. Ray, you also have a nature check that you need to make for me, in addition to that.
Is that good? Feels good.
Yeah. It's got a little more body than a lot of IPAs, which I like about it.
I've tried Dig Gael a couple times. Every single time I didn't care for it.
This
Maybe
is
it's
a
better.
Good Guy IPA.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a little different. But it's not like the... It does kind of taste like a crossover between a Dead Guy and an IPA.
Well, I guess they landed on what they're after.
Feel free to have more if you guys want.
I have Imperial Cider in there.
Ooh.
I brought some Pacific Pale Ale. Feel free to enjoy.
All good options.
You want to me to roll something and then a nature one?
Yeah, I want you to roll a nature check for me, and then an investigation modified by your wisdom for finding bugs.
Nature is a 19. Then I totally spaced on what you just said about finding bugs.
So with the nature
Oh.
check, first, we'll just get this out of the way first. As you've been walking and as thinking about what you saw of these the true and somewhat more horrifying versions of your guides, one of them, they both have these long hairs that are growing out of various parts of their body. They're like 6 to 10 inches long, and are like straight and strong, thick hairs. There is a similarity that you are coming to, that these people in their true form are they have sprouts of the hairs that spiders have, that more like whiskers than hairs, that they're there for interacting and receiving information with their environment. These creatures have this monstrous aspect to them, and that's one of the aspects that you draw a really definite similarity to.
Okay.
And then you can give me an investigation check. You can use your wisdom modifier instead of your intelligence as you for your bug hunt.
17 plus 3, 20.
Yeah, you find in this place there are a number of strange and odd little bugs in this place that are very flat and look like they have little hammerhead shark heads, but these really flat carapaces, and they can slide into the thinnest crack, and they're segmented little bodies. Find some new bugs.
I'll pass on the little buggy information. Go hang out with Quilla. No, mutant elf, bug hair sensor. And then pulls out a bug and messes with the antennae, like that.
So they're receptors? More than...
Fur, bug fur.
So Gray found bugs with hairs on them.
He realized that our guides, the hairs that were on them are similar to the sensors that you'd find on bugs.
Okay. Were those bugs from this area, or were they from elsewhere?
These are just generic bugs, I'm assuming.
Or spiders or...
Yeah, I don't think anything fancy.
creatures.
I think there were two separate things that happened. Gray made a roll to actually find some bugs, and Gray also made a check to understand something he saw on your guides.
The hairs.
The hairs,
Okay.
yeah. So he found some bugs that are unique to this place, and also identified that your guides have some buggy, spidery qualities.
Oh, interesting.
At least that's the way Gray could relate it to.
Oh my goodness. So much
So
stuff.
between the information that Gray just shared about our Samsaran escorts having spider-like characteristics, and the information that Nazira had shared earlier about folks being kind of the servants of Wolf, is there some kind of so Johan is trying to put 2 and 2 together with this information, and knows that these beings have been affected by music before. Does Johan have knowledge around what kind of servants or followers of Loth, cultural music, may be present?
Yeah, you can give me give me yeah, give me a I want to say performance or history. Just again, we'll do this history as you to see if this has come across your
13.
13. No, you think that from what you've heard, as something of a connoisseur of esoteric, practices of music. Anything related to Wolf would be like secret cultic worship music of some like weird stuff, and that's not for public consumption. You have not been able to come across it.
Cool.
You definitely know, even with that role, that Wolf is not good news. And I'm sure that
We talked
Nazir
about-
would share at least some of
Yeah.
that as
I remember that part.
well. If I remember what? Do I need to make a roll?
We talked about drow music once upon a time.
Oh, did we? I don't remember that
Yeah.
offhand.
It's just tangential to this,
Yeah,
but
fair.
yeah, and it was we were kind of like I was telling you some things that I thought about the drow and thought it was kind of
What if
interesting, like in the world anyway.
Yeah.
Would it be possible for me,
During one of my fanfic
I know it's a
sessions.
little late, but would it be possible
Sorry.
for me to use one of my class features, Fearless Skill, to add just a little more to that role?
Yeah, let's go on.
Okay. That would be 20.
Just 20 total. I would say with that role, you are adding, some scraps of choruses and like music you've seen or like come across left over from actual like wolf cultists or drow conclaves and such. And again, it reinforces, without adding a lot of like useful detail here, reinforces that Lolth is a cruel and demonic goddess who demands subservience and often the very lives of her worshippers. This is not an entity that is known for delivering boons to anybody that don't also serve her will in some way. And the music related to her is often like, it is, the bits that you've come across are like ultimately like morally repugnant in a lot of ways. How they're like celebrating the crushing of other people, of dominating people or peoples to the will of Lolth or her servants. And there is a true awareness of the worshippers that there isn't with Lolth in a lot of the music that you're familiar with, a greater good from a different point of view sort of thing. There is like, she is a dominating demonic entity that demands and deserves our respect due to her strength and power and wisdom and like all this stuff. And that, it's not good.
So with this information and the information gleaned from our stay at the camp, wherein those arcanomancers had that same exact thing where they're exerting their will and demanding subservience of folks to build temples and construct these great wonders for them. Do I put kind of 2 and 2 together?
There is an alignment of ideologies to some extent, in that the Samsarans, in their self-serving pursuit of transcendence and immortality, didn't care about lesser beings or like see them as worthy of consideration the same way that Lolth does not see lesser beings as worthy of consideration. They must prove themselves to her first to be seen worthy by her. Keisha, you can't dig into your bed. Let's go. Go lay down. here. I'll be around everybody underneath the table. Stop digging at your bed.
Good girl, Misha.
All right. Sorry, did I leave off or did I answer questions or did I leave
answered
off?
it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Nazira seems pretty shaken by this revelation that Wolf is involved, even tangentially.
I guess one last thing, Mark. Armed with this kind of new revelation, the song that we heard them singing earlier, does that fit into something that a believer or someone that's involved in the cult of Wolf would subscribe to, or does that?
Yeah, interestingly, no. Like, there is a huge amount of, like, arrogance and hubris and just dismissal of other people's value and stuff. And, like, you can kind of, like, suss this out in the culture of these two groups, like, Wolf worshippers and the Samsarans, you know, through the lens of, like, the people, like, the worshippers or, you know, the cultists and the Wolf's aspect, like, being just very open about how awful they are, basically. But with the Samsarans, you're, like, gleaning some of this information from what you've learned through the, like, the workers' songs and stuff. And they are just terribly preoccupied with their own transcendence, and that is kind of like the thing that is like making them kind of just dismiss other concerns. There is this like preoccupation with their own ascent into something superior that they think that they are, you know, chosen for, or not chosen, they're choosing themselves. Like there's this sense of like self-aggrandizement as a good quality. There is not that same. So there's definitely like differences as well. Like so there's definitely this sort of like fascistic or whatever sort of like dismissal of human rights or you know rights or real worth of other creatures and stuff. But they are different in this is ultimately like seemingly like a group that is committed to this idea of like of their own elevation, but Lolth is separate from that at the very least. Like they are at the very least parallel paths to being shitty things. So you guys take an hour rest, or take that time with some conversations with each other, trying to figure out what might yet await you, and with your own thoughts and tending to whatever wounds and bruises you've accumulated in the last day of very strange activity. If there's anything else you guys would like to attend to here on your short rest before we make the final approach to Nazira meeting her fate.
Quill will just ask Nazira how she's holding up.
Did you hear that, sir?
Yeah.
Cool.
Nazira is taking a moment.
Nazira's like, let
So
me
many of my
finish spending
spells are
this hit down.
psychic.
Oh, you're really just working on your spell list? You're like, hang on, I'm working on my spells. Quill, shut up.
As like a,
Charismatic Quill is just talking away.
Yeah.
like almost like there's too much, right?
Yeah.
And so she focuses on the thing that's easiest to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, if the betrayer is involved, even tangentially, that's worse than I had imagined. I have no doubt that these people will sacrifice everything to get what they want. Just a matter of whether what they want and what Vitari wants are the same. Also, she has rather significantly misled and betrayed me personally. And then Azira touches her temple and casts Mind Blink on herself.
Mind blank?
Nice. That blocks scrying and like mind reading and stuff.
This blocks, until this blocks, you are immune to psychic damage, any effect that
Is
would
this the same
sense
you did?
emotions or read thoughts, divination spells, charmed condition. It even foils wish spells and spells
Yeah.
or effects of similar power.
You just mimicked a celestial boon of Lathander given to Beep Boop and bestowed upon Xerox every day.
Excellent.
I don't think Xerox
24
even
hours.
knows at this
Yeah.
point.
Well, we're here to stand with you and help figure this out. It all seems to be tied into all the things we're going through. All of this,
All the things we've gone through.
yeah, and all this stuff that's happening to the world. Like, it's all so interwoven.
It's very true.
It seems like things are more
The other
connected.
thing that
Yeah?
I find to be most curious is why this communication ray on this mountain is so big, and why it needs such a big shield to protect it. I think it must be related to the Panopticon.
Ah,
I wonder, perhaps the Panopticon is housed here?
and our
Or
map
it's a
is
major
just
receiver.
The little receiving version.
What was that?
Our map is just our own little receiver for it.
Yes. The map is not the Panopticon, it's the Panopticon Atlas.
Right.
The Panopticon itself is also, and I believe that it's also what should be used to receive messages. Is that right, Mark?
It sounds like you're trying to remember information about Shippy. I'd like to help with that. Yes.
Okay, perfect. And my assumption is that it also helped vessels such as Togotops to maintain its telemetries correctly.
Ah, interesting.
And I was thinking, I've been reflecting on the various symbols that we have seen of the sun over the flat earth and the sun under the flat earth. And then what we have seen here, which is the sun and the globe. And I was wondering if might not that sun, what we assume to be the sun, actually represent Ayan Naru itself.
Represent what?
This mountain itself,
Oh, interesting.
rather than deity.
Gray walks within eyesight of Nazira and pulls out his new book and starts messing with it, getting his grubby fingers all over it, and looking up at her to see if she's noticing.
Good job, Gray. Keep it up.
Flips through the pages. I know.
I'm very nervous, in truth, Quilla.
Hi. Feels like we
I
just
don't know what
getting
awaits us.
further and further in. suppose it's about time to go find
I don't know
out.
if I'll be able to meet the challenge.
I'm sure you will. You're certainly the greatest wizard I've met, so if anyone can figure it out, I think you can.
Thanks for the confidence. Well, let's get this over with, I guess.
Here we go. Everyone about ready.
You
Didn't quite hear you there.
Is everyone about ready?
Xerox stands up and twirls her hammer and just kind of throws it up, catches it. It's just like, let's.
Alright.
Ray smashes a finger to his bow or between his fingers and rubs it on his bow where the arrows slide through to help lubricate it.
You can see just a little like slight, just like brief like flame of the like cinder, like burning cinder core of the bow illuminates through the cracks in it for a moment, receiving the bug oil and the intention to murder some or destroy some more things, and it is excited about this prospect.
His little like leg twitching. Back to the side of the bow.
So you guys awaken your daydreaming guides, and they lead you unerringly now down this long, wide, and tall, less a tunnel and more just an enormous shaft cut through the mountain itself. It is expansive and strange to be in such an immense subterranean space, because there are times when this place feels like just being in a building, being in like a nice interior of a large, complex of some kind. And there are other times where you're passing through that you are reminded that you are now like miles into the heart of a mountain. And even more when you remember that, you remember it is now tumbling up and up and up and up away from the surface of the world.
Oh, his stomach does somersaults whenever she thinks about that.
Gray knows it can't fly any higher than he can, so he's not worried.
Rabbits can't fly. Eventually, your journey brings you just deeper and deeper into the mountain, and eventually you see that this long passageway that you're in right now, eventually like ahead, like takes a turn. It's been a straight shot for like the last half hour that you guys have been walking through this place, and eventually ahead you see it just like splits off. The immensely wide tunnel is perhaps just wide enough on like one end to see that you can see that this like the tunnel ahead like bends off and then goes back and continues on even past this. But it is moving around something. And as you begin to approach this, your guides, one of your guides, either Malefluent or Physilis, you're not really sure, as they both look so similar and they're so benign in their aspect that as soon as you lose track of which one is which, it's a coin toss. Coin toss? Coin toss. There we go.
Band name.
One of them says to you, the heart of Ainaru is ahead. We will come to some doors ahead, and beyond which your friend is waiting for you, Nazira. And you will see the heart of this mountain and its control center. And from there, you can access communication array underneath the Aegis, if you wish. If looks at you, Nazira. If you don't find yourselves opposed to what we're trying to accomplish here. Come. And they lead you ahead. And just before the...
One aside real quick. Beep Boop has the heart of madness.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that was... Go ahead.
So, one thing we have been tossing around is chucking it into the vortex. Is Beep Boop still with us, I guess?
Yeah, Beep Boop is here, and if
In case that comes up,
that
okay.
choice is definitely still open to you guys. I'm not going to say like, nope, can't do it because he's not here this week. No, of course you still have access to such a significant relic.
Is that the shard?
That's the ouchie
the
shard.
shard of the Darkstar Prince's madness.
Madness. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. I just thought of that.
No,
as you were-
good point. And just before the this immensely wide causeway shifts around, you guys are led down through another large tunnel, which very quickly comes to a large double door that is set in the mountainside or in the mountain stone. It's not ornately carved and merely has some of this ancient text that of all of you, I think Johann has the most experience with. And as you begin to try and like work through something like a translation, or at least getting the gist of what this might say, your guides tell you that this is
Point of order, Mark. I still do have read all languages active.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So as Johann, you are trying to like work the hard work of actually translating this in mundane fashion. You hear the guides say that this is the control center, or rather, they say, as Nazira like whispers the same thing under her breath audibly as she reads this off the wall or off the door. The triphasic Zephyr Drive modulation chamber.
Is that in the same primal celestial inferno or infernal celestial that the keepers seem to be keen on speaking?
Yes. Well, it's hard to say. Like the magic that translates this for you and allows you to read it in common, kind of in some ways makes it more difficult to like translate or like understand the underlying actual text as your perception of it changes. I would say to Johann that you would identify this text as this primordial, not in the sense of the actual language primordial, but it's like ancient, like sort of like this language that is like a precursor or something, and it involves like elements of like celestial and fiendish and all these like ancient like divine languages and such. say, well, you are expected. After you.
So do we like take our shoes off, or can we just walk on in? This seems like a room of great importance, and I would hate for. Is it delicate? Is it sensitive?
They chuckle. They say, you will find no delicate components within, and while it is sacred in a sense, your shoes may stay on. It is also a working space.
A working space? What do you mean?
It's very active heart of this mountain. What the Samsarans have always sought was finding ways to at first merely mimic the power that the gods held and took with them when they left us. It is our group was a realization that we did not and never needed the gods. They are merely the natural result of the environment, just as we are. Just a different environment. And with the right tools, with the right knowledge, what they can do and portray as miracles, we could do for ourselves without the need of higher beings.
Grace gonna walk into the room, just what's going on? You know, he wants. Is this like a helm? Does he see like steering mechanism?
There is, like I said, two large doors that you're going to have to open to enter into the chamber.
Yeah, he's gonna start to walk to go open those doors.
Yeah.
Before, when we approach these doors first, I want to. I've kept an eye on the schematics, and I want to see if I can identify where the Zephyr chambers are from this spot.
Yeah, great question. You, from your the study of the map or the schematics that you've done, this chamber lies from the terrestrial perspective of the pointy end of Mountain B top. This is below, this is above where the actual drive is, and where like the engine and where the Zephyr depot is. So at the very relative to you, that place is. Jesus Christ! Now that it's twisting because we're relative. So we're going to keep in perspective of pointy place top. Zephyr engine is nearer the base, the bottom of it from where you are. You're nearer the center, and above you, which technically from your perspective is below, above you is the communications array at the pointy part of the mountain, and below you at the base of the mountain where you told Shippy, or where you told your creatures to go tell the party to take Shippy, is at the bottom of the mountain below you. So near the bottom is the actual engine and drive and the fuel storage. Near the middle, where you are right now, is the modulation chamber. And near the top, or really at the top, is the communications array.
Okay. So we'd have to go all the way to the bottom to get the Zephyr.
Not quite all the way, but in that direction, yes.
But that's on the way to shoot.
It would add how long onto this journey, Mark?
If you were, well, first you would need to find your way without your guides, which would mean any amount of time. You're not really sure. You're not sure how easy it would be to find any of the particular like access tunnels or things without, because you've seen many of these places have collapsed and stuff as the mountain has shifted and portions of it have just failed. So it's definitely guesswork. Doing any amount of navigation around here, even with a schematic, is some amount of guesswork without your guides. With just looking at the schematic and like just gauging by like time it's taken to get from here to here versus estimating from there to there, you might say it might take like an hour to get there. If you can find faster transportation, that would obviously change that estimate.
Would you give us a moment to confer with one another?
Of course. You can take all the time you need.
Say, all right. We came to this mountain to get the Zephyr. You said how many hours is that, Mark?
You can imagine that you might be able to get from where you are to the fuel depot in an hour if you're able to find the way successfully and readily. But again, you do not know. It's like navigating wilderness. You don't know where and when you might find an unexpected blockage or have to do a rework or whatever, or reroute.
It may be an hour away if we are successful and luck is with us. Do you think we should get the Zephyr and have it on hand before we engage this encounter, or should we count on, in case we have to hastily flee the mountain, or should we count on being able to get there afterwards?
We're here now.
Yeah, it sounds like this is a big problem that we might need to deal with, so my inclination is to do what we are here to do.
Gray's got his hand on the door. Like, pull?
Yeah.
I do see your concern though, Nazira. It's a good question.
It's a good question.
I just see us having to flee the mountain exploding, and us with Shippy and no Zephyr.
I kind of feel like if the mountain's going to explode, I'm not sure we're going to make it to Shippy.
Overthink too much.
Oh.
Go.
Split the party. Send news and media back to
Yeah. All right. We'll go in.
Gray's like inching the door open, like closing it, and then inching closing it.
Lead the way, Gray.
Gray opens the door
Okay.
and slips in.
The door, the tall door, was pulled back by Gray, straining against it for a moment just to shift its great mass. The doors open to reveal an immense chamber, spilling forth with golden yellow light. And as the door swings open slowly on this mass on its heavy hinges, it reveals a strange room. There is at the center of it what at first seems to be a solid cone of light until your perception reveals it to be a steadily shifting and pulsing, but like there is something about it that it is not just a solid cone of light, but multiple sources of light spiraling around each other in an infinitely fast or almost imperceptibly fast pulse. Three of them, like spiraling around each other in a cone in the center of this chamber. But around that seeming cone of golden electric light, there is something or some things that are rather oddly revolving around this column of light in this immense chamber. You see strange spheres and cubes and strange like other like shapes just in this like tight almost like orbit around this column. Just many shapes, like probably a half dozen or so large ones and like dozens of smaller like spheres and other blocks and cubes and like some like just half circle segments spinning around this place. It is madness inside this room. And all of this like just your senses struggle to take in what you're seeing, just like the overwhelming just like glorious luminance of this like seeming column of light, these strange objects, spheres and cubes and such spiraling around this central column of light, and at its base, opposite you, barely visible through this column of light is, you can barely make out the shape of some construct, some immense like thing blocking much light from the opposite side, and there is somebody over there. Above you, you can see the column of light ascends through this space, probably 80, 100 feet to the ceiling, where it goes through like an articulated iris that allows the light to pass through it, through the ceiling above. And you can see that the light is coming through a similar iris at the floor in the center of this chamber, passing through this room. Let's clear a little space off here.
Great waves to the figure. Hey.
This is actually, I need the other one there. There's 2 levels of this.
Don't look.
These are both visible to you. As
This
you're
is
in a large
this is pre-drawn?
open chamber.
Yes, pre-drawn.
You can. I was thinking we could like slide it, some of it over this way and some of it that way.
While you guys are setting that up, I'll be right back.
Yeah. Oh, is this? Do you want to set this up just for audio and put it on that side of the table?
Yeah, it's recording everything right now.
Oh, great. Can you put it on Discord as well and then just let Sarah hear through it?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, if we could do that, just have some audio pickup for that side of the table, I think that would help Sarah a lot.
The only thing it might not do is pick you up because it's recording the session.
Oh, right.
It was
we could put
over
it
there. Yeah.
That's right. Well, we could.
But I could use my phone. I don't know if that would do any feedback.
If anybody wants to jump on Discord and just put their phone on that side of the table and just put it, I think that would work.
Sarah can hear a little more.
Yeah, just maybe.
I think I can do that. I think I just get in there.
So this is the ground floor, and this is the elevated space.
And what's the height difference between the two?
We're going with maybe first 20 feet will be on the ground floor, and everything else is going to be up there, even though that includes 60 to 80 feet of space. So that's going to be including.
You have to mute me.
Uh-oh.
I'll mute myself until that happens.
You can use some of Ryan's
Yeah.
doodads.
Origamis.
Yeah.
Origami.
And these are variously like that stand there is indicating is some of these are flying much higher than others. Elevate to indicate the three-dimensional space.
Gray has a shape phobia. He's never talked about before. Yeah, geometric shapes freak him the fuck out.
Consider yourself frightened for the rest of this.
No, it's a joke.
more table, a little less people. Alright, I just need to mute Carly. How's that?
Maybe better?
I hear no echo.
That's good.
Cool. We're
You
just
good?
waiting for
Yeah.
Sarah to come back.
Theoretically, when Sarah comes back, she can verify that she can hear us better.
Yeah.
Good call. I didn't even think about.
I can say that I can hear you better.
Yay!
What about my dice? Can you hear me roll these dice?
I'm just distracting my cats again, so bear
Apparently
with
not.
me just 1 second.
What about me crinkling my can? Can
Yeah.
you hear that?
I love the audio. Listen to people eat chips.
I love it when you can like hear like Shell doing like dishes in the background. Yeah. It's like it picks that out so perfectly, and then like everything else at the table is just.
Just silence
Garble.
and just
Yeah.
hear.
Well, yeah.
Alright, Ray turned into a T-Rex, and he just chomps everywhere.
Easy peasy. I do need potentially this for things.
Mother?
Oh my god.
Oh, I was gonna have Nazir do something else right before we went in.
Alright. Unless
Only if
it's
it's cool.
another ritual or something.
As you're going in, she's gonna take out her salve and draw those arcane runes over her eyes and cast True Sight.
True sight, you say? Well, in that case, I'm gonna use the restroom.
Oh, you made me go pee.
I'm gonna do that.
Sarah, you scared Mark.
I'm getting close to 8. Yeah, you guys want to stay quick 5 or something?
That sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good. Take 5, everybody.
Opened to you, as previously described, and helpfully identified with Ryan's geometric shapes. There are strange shapes, objects, flying around this space, as if this is a novel orrery. It has all these like these shapes revolving around the center column of light in a seemingly chaotic pattern. You see, like I said, this central column of luminous energy, and behind that you can just like very faintly make out the shape of this little like construct here, and somebody standing at what appeared to be something like controls.
Mark, when you say construct, do you mean like, okay, so you do mean like a golem?
No, I mean there is an object there, like a constructed mechanism, table, contraption, behind which you can very faintly make out the shadow of a shape through the almost completely obscuring light of this column. At this point, you guys have just cracked the door open a ways, like a few feet, and are peering inside.
Gray's waving.
Oh, give
I
Gray a
think
little.
Ray went all the way in, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, you went all the way?
Yeah, starting to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gray, you
Going.
step all the way through, and in a moment you hear a voice echoing through this chamber, which is oddly quiet despite the what should be just like almost deafening noise of these immense objects like flying around in the like upper areas of this chamber. You hear someone, it's kind of a familiar voice in Nazira's voice says to you all, "Oh, hello. I've expected you for some time. Glad you could join me here. Do come in. We have much to discuss."
Big words?
"Yes, little one, it's me."
He turns around, looks back at big
No,
words.
Gray.
And you see a shape forming itself into the recognizable form of Nazira. If a little bit aged, there is a streak of gray in the hair, a little bit, not quite like wrinkles in the face, but something like approaching like the lack of elasticity to create wrinkles. Like there's this, certainly an older version of Nazira here. I'm sure you all have
Does
questions.
she have an eye?
She does have
Like she
an eye.
and eye. Does she have two eyes?
She does have two eyes.
Okay.
You said we saw her like materializing into a shape that looked like Nazira?
Merely stepping out, like you could barely see her when she was standing behind this
Okay.
illumination, and as she stepped beyond it or to the side of it, she
Okay.
revealed herself.
And
to
I would have detect magic up.
Yeah, you have detect magic up, and Nazira, you have true sight up.
True sight and read all languages.
How do you have so many spells active at the same time? Awesome. I'm not actually. Anyway, you're good.
Okay.
Trusting you right now. I'm not actually. I'm just. It's impressive what a level 16 or whatever you guys are character can do.
None of these are concentration.
Is there a distance limit for either of you on your sight?
I believe mine's 30 feet.
30.
Hold on, I'll have to check two different things.
Yeah, 30 feet.
Let's see here. Oh,
Cool.
and when I cast True Sight, I get a spell back. I forgot about that diviner ability. So.
Oh, nice. Clearly,
Maybe
you
slot back.
feel this, like, your detect magic just, like, almost, like, blow out with just, like, exposure. The distance of it only goes 30 feet, but you can see, like,
This is Quilla.
that's just beyond, like, this central column is beyond that, and, like, these shapes flying above you are beyond that. But you can see, just, like, even without seeing, like, the specific, like, confirmation of, like, that's the object this magic is coming from, you can see, like, just this aura that's just, like, filling this space. Like, it is, yeah, utterly replete with magic in this chamber. There are obviously, like, focuses to it and such, but this is, and like walking into a, like, nuclear power generator and saying, like, yep, there's
Right.
electricity
There's
being
power.
generated
Yeah.
here or whatever. Like,
Can I tell what School of Magic the column is?
there's the dominant form you can see out of that, this swirl, this maelstrom of all kinds of magic is conjuration.
Okay.
Okay, so there is no limit to my readability. If I can read it, I can read it. Basically, is how that works. There's no, like, distance.
Cool.
And then that's mind blank, not true sight. This is all out to a range of 120 feet.
120 feet for true sight?
Yep.
Let me just see if you. Never mind. Not the D&D wiki. That's not trustworthy.
Do you want me to read it to you?
You can. I'm also just going to bring it up here. But yeah, that'd be fine. That'd be helpful.
Okay. This spell gives the willing creature you touch the ability to see things as they actually are. For the duration, the creature has true sight, notices secret doors hidden by magic, and can see into the ethereal plane, all out to a range of 120 feet.
True sight. A monster with true sight can, out to a specific range, see in normal and magical darkness, see invisible creatures and objects, automatically detect visual illusions, and succeed on saving throws against them, and perceive the original form of a shape changer or a creature that is transformed by magic. Furthermore, the monster can see into the ethereal plane with the same range. Yes. Okay. You guys see... Yes?
I was going to say, so what's going on in Ethereal right now, Mark?
The Ethereal is... There's a local soccer game happening in the Ethereal plane. There's a bunch of Ethereal children running through this place. You don't see too much action in the Ethereal plane. In fact, like, the expansive, like, pressure of the magic happening in this space seems to just, like, not... like. Either it's like you know that places like this, either like in other planes, if they bleed into them, either attract or dissuade creatures in those planes from approaching. This seems to be of the dissuade variety. The ethereal plane is blank in this place. Just a faint like fog that you see. You guys all see this Nazira, this alt Nazira, come around from this control panel, and looks you all over and sees you, Nazira, and sees the light in your eyes, and says, well, I guess this isn't the place or time for deception. Let's speak honestly with each other. And what you see, Nazira, was not yourself coming around the light, but was a mere, if not ethereal, but a mere arcane servant of some kind that is covered with an illusion. Vitaria is not here.
Interesting.
She steps forward and you see like, just like, you can see like almost like the like arcane mesh of her body being like overlaid with this illusory magic. And the rest of you though see this slightly older version of Nazira come around and say, fine, all right then. No time for deception. Let us speak honestly with one another. And
why don't you drop your illusion first?
she does so. The illusion drops enough that you can see that it is just like this faint, like, gossamer over this arcane substance of her fake body here. She says, yes, the Mount Aineru's transubstantiation array allows people to work in places where they needn't be with their bodies. Useful.
I see. And while she's talking, I'm gonna like kind of walk around the place, trying to understand it more. Understand what they've been doing.
Which aspect are you focusing your attention on? There's a lot going on in here. You've just also been introduced to a new term, the transubstantiation array. All this weird arcanotech ancient stuff is, I'm sure to Nazira, as interesting as it might occasionally be confounding when you want answers now, or you want to be able to make an informed decision now.
Actually, when she says that, the transubstantiation arcana array, I'm gonna go around where it's a little difficult for this servant to get a read on what I'm doing. I'm going to
as you
look
move
at
around
these
this chamber,
schematics.
this creature, this form of Vitaria mirrors you, is not going to let you just walk
Okay.
around in this space and do whatever you want. In fact, as you try and like walk past, she says, "How rude I have become. Would you not
Indeed.
speak with me before you barge into my home?"
I was expecting some tea.
While that's happening, Quilla's gonna just take a few steps the opposite direction of Nazira.
As soon as you begin to split apart like that, this form of Vitaria flies into the air above you. She lifts off like 20 feet in the air and says, "We can do this civilly, or you can scurry around like rats. Which will it be?"
Well, it seems you have an unfair advantage. Why don't you tell us where you are so we can talk face to face?
Why would I give away what
I don't
advantage
want
I
you to.
have when you had so many friends at your side? I'm merely a copy of you, after all. I couldn't stand up to you and your companions. Would you, Nazira, care to meet me face to face alone? I'm sure we could arrange something like that. Now,
So you
if you
can
can,
incapacitate me and pretend to be me.
if you want to bore me with these petulant conversations, you may. But if you wish to discuss things of import, we can do that as well. But know that in either case, we are approaching our destination.
Very well. Why don't you tell me what you wish to discuss?
I've been wanting and looking forward to this moment, Vitaria, where we could speak as something approaching equals. And I could show you what awaits. I could show you what they've taken from us and what I am going to take back for us.
So why
And you
don't
can
tell
have
me?
a part in
Tell
that.
me if you can.
Show you. I will show you. When the reverie begins, oh, I will show you what they've hidden from you, what they've kept from you and from me, and from all those that came before you. I've showed you the poverty of the memories I've been able to maintain and collect. Our lives have been taken from us, sequestered away, taken the very nature of what it is to be elven. Today, we will be reunited. Or at least I will be reunited. And you have the choice, Nazira, to join all your sisters and brothers, all those that have come before you in harmony, or live alone and die alone. Because that is what they left to us, is to die alone, Nazira. What Corlin left to us.
In this reverie, Are you planning, is it your intention then to attempt to force unity back on the elves?
The elves? No, this unity will be for us and us alone.
I see.
They've chosen
And the
to excise us from themselves. We will make our own unity within ourselves. We didn't ask for this. But we will take back what is ours. All our previous lives are waiting for us right now, Nazira. Imprisoned. Kept away. We will take them back. And they will be ours. They will be us again.
Mark,
Yes.
as she is talking about this, I would like, trying to keep her talking, I would like to try to look at the schematics and see if I can find out where the transubstantiation rate, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, that is what it's called. You know that Bataria's eyes, you can feel them boring into you right now. Anything that you do that is an attempt to be deceptive is going to be a really significant challenge. And she's already communicated that she's not here to fuck around. So you can certainly make that check. I just want to make sure you understand, like your character understands the stakes here.
Okay. She's not like obscured by the yellow, and she's not in here like she's not scrying either, because I can't be scryed on me.
You cannot be scryed upon. This is a physical, magical manifestation of that she's manipulating somehow.
Who's this person on the far side here?
So you guys are approaching from over here,
Like Josh.
and she is flying. As Quilla began to do a little like splitsy-roo to get like on either side of Vitaria, she just immediately called you guys out on that and like lifted up into the air.
Okay. Sorry, there was a character by. So first I thought that was Vitaria, and then it was the one at the console, and then I was wondering who that other one was. So.
And then the die
Okay.
is you. The other die. The darker die.
Oh, the die is Nazira?
Yes.
Black die is Nazira, pink die is.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
this in here. Dice Quilla.
Let's get something more, at least visually recognizable.
Quilla left her mini at home.
That's
Is the
Nazira,
pink die
the
Quilla?
classic flaming
Yeah.
sword that Nazira has.
She will not let that thing go.
It can be Quilla for now. There we go. I'll take that.
Quilla the Ranger.
Quilla the Ranger. Been studying under Eric the Star for a while.
He's so infuriated right now. You've been training under who?
Yes, child.
Why don't you tell me what actually happened? Heard multiple versions. And I would like to know the truth. Before I can determine the right path for me to take, I need to understand the truth of our history.
You've already seen it.
And of yours and mine.
You've already seen. You're referring to our separation from Coralline. or something else?
I'm referring to our separation from ourselves. You and me. Were we ever truly the same person? Are we two souls sundered, or are we two souls somehow that have been merged and have now been sundered again?
You needn't think in such
How did we each come to be?
defined terms. Elven souls do not always follow the same rules. And the rules that we do follow are made by Corlin and broken by him just as easily. You have seen this moment. I saw you watch it.
Fog.
And as she says
Say that
this,
again,
you have seen this moment and I saw you watch it. And as she doesn't really have that connection to you anymore, so she can't necessarily draw forth things into your mind like she may have once done. But you get the impression that she's referring to, I don't know if you, Sarah, remember this. I did once describe I described a moment of the betrayal of Corlin and your
The word.
flight. Yeah, the words that you spoke and and the flight. And that is, she says again. She said that you have seen it, and I watched you see it. You stepped in those memories, the memories of our fall from Arvindor, our flight. The moment that we took what we needed from Sehanin to survive, to hide. And speaking of Sehanin, I must thank you, Nazira. It was your discovery that showed me what must be done.
When I communed with the elves and Ketin.
No.
No. When?
No, what you learned what has come to pass. You learned what has become of that human god Kellenvor. I knew then that if Kellenvor was unable to fulfill his duties, well, Sehanin couldn't help but step in. She's always been interested in helping people pass on.
What does that have to do with this? Or with what I showed you? With what must be done?
We need to gain Sehanin's attention without her realizing that it is us. I'm sure you'll figure it out. And you and your friends, you just came here for fuel? Is that right?
I want bugs.
Yes, we came to refill Gray's bug supply.
Among other things.
Yes, we first became aware of this place due to our search for Zephyr.
Well, if Zephyr is what you want, you can take it and be on your way. But Nazira, if you wish to experience in any respect the divine dance of multitudes of yourself in unity, the memories and lives of all your previous aspects living together in harmony, you may want to stay. Let your friends go. Take their old ship. Take their Zephyr and be gone. You and I, there's no telling what you and I could achieve.
Can I do an inside check?
Tell me.
Sure.
Yeah, do it.
I'm wondering if I'm trying to understand her motives. Like if it's really as true as what she's saying, or as simple as all that. That's not great. Like 14. Oh, it's good. 19.
There is an earnestness to the expression of pain and betrayal that at the very least communicates that this person really believes much of the emotional aspect of the story they're telling. They are certainly, you think, moderating that story to some extent. You don't know to what extent they're doing
like I'm
that.
wondering if she needs Nazira.
There is, I think what you get with a 19, there is a loneliness that Vitaria is communicating, that they earnestly want, perhaps, Vitaria or Nazira to be a partner or something in this. Something, maybe? Like something approaching, like, yeah, somebody, I think you catch the emotional aspect of that more than like, maybe like what all the machinations that Vitaria might have, but there is a loneliness to their request or their interest in Nazira.
So I'm getting more like emotional connection vibes, not manipulation. Like I need you to fulfill my nefarious purpose.
Yeah, there is, and certainly also like combined with that like loneliness and that like tentative sort of like reaching out to Nazira, there is certainly also like to some extent like a steely resolve. There is no deception about their intent or their belief in their own capacity to achieve their goals.
Right. Okay.
Can I drive? Greg kind of like starts walking over towards the console a little bit, just a couple feet.
Control your pets, Nazira.
Don't refer to our friends as pets.
No one can control Gray. He is the paragon of chaos.
I fly good.
Things are most often best put in cages, I find.
Nazira, I don't
When they
think I
misbehave.
like her.
And I'm speaking to you, Nazira, and to you, Quilla, as those hopefully intelligent enough to understand when restraint is necessary to avoid pain or violence. Contain your friend and yourselves, or our conversation will change.
This Is it really a conversation among equals when you lay threats?
It is not a conversation among equals.
I see.
Xerox will step beside Gray.
Sounds fearful.
I'm sure lightning scares monkeys sometimes. We are people of purpose and intent speaking to each other right now, while you have among you a person of mere will.
Mark, what's going on behind us?
Behind you? And the doors in the
Yeah.
chamber? Your keepers have disappeared. The path behind you is empty and open.
Do we see anybody else in this room?
Give me a perception check.
19.
19. You do not see anybody else in this on the like floor level, but you realize that looking up there are like spaces where the walls go back and out. That like there are places above you that certainly could hide people or things, but on the bottom floor here right now, you don't see any enemies or potential enemies or people.
Do we see any way to get up?
The chamber here doesn't seem to provide any obvious way of ascent.
Okay.
Nazira's looking at,
Would
or
you-
Kula looks to Nazira, and then kind of asks, or like, just kind of gives her a look of like, what's with her?
Sorry, what are you saying, Kola?
Kula just gives you a look like, what's with her? Like, what is this?
Vitaria,
Yes.
since you know our purpose here to get the Zephyr, would you mind if I accompany my companions quickly to see them on their way? And Mark, as an aside, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to buy us some time so that we can retreat and I can look at the tablet and get a she actually is.
She says,
And then we can talk one-on-one.
so then you are committed to staying here with me and your innumerable other selves and
I'm
leaving
open
your
to it.
friends?
So long as I can help them get what they need to get on their way.
Give
We
me
don't need them to be
a,
caught up in all of this.
give me a deception check.
Cool, want to help me out here?
Yeah.
She isn't lying.
Got it. Sorry.
Kula will
What was
say,
Not a liar.
Kula will sort of try to like aid you by arguing a little bit and be like, you're really gonna do that? You're gonna escort us out and come back?
I mean, I have to consider it if I've been searching for myself my entire life and I've always been separated from what makes
But
us elven.
Johan in this moment is gonna
She's not wrong.
pull out his lute and start kind of playing like a fight
Kula's
anthem
like-
to give bardic inspiration to Nazira.
Yeah, give me a persuasion check. You can either do it with advantage. I like it when you both do it. So why don't you both roll?
Okay.
That way you can't just hide
Sounds
behind
good.
one person's higher stat.
And then Mark,
Alright,
just
I'm
to
already at an 8.
clarify, the little ditty I was playing, like that fight song, that's that. the intent with that was to give bardic inspiration
Oh,
to
yeah, yeah.
Nazira. So does that?
So either Nazira, you can have bardic.
I rolled 24.
What dice is that?
D10.
Wow.
D10. What did you roll, Colin?
24.
Wow. Okay. 10, 17 with the inspiration.
There's a moment.
Wait, no, that's not possible. Hold on, that's not possible. I can't. Oh, wait. Okay, there's an easier way to do this. Hold on.
How is 17 not possible?
Wait.
Well within the realm of possibilities.
Because I can't math. And I'm under stress right now. And I'm 16. That's what it is.
16.
Not possible.
We here say that's not possible.
Obviously, you're cheating, and we need all your rolls on D&D now because 16 is physically not possible to roll.
Not well, alright. 8 plus 7,
You're
so
good.
it's like 17. Plus like 3. I have plus 1, and then yeah. Anyway.
There's a moment of suspicion and disappointment that crosses Vitaria's face as her strange now as the illusion again has been dropped, but only in as much as it shows like the illusory face, like mask on this magical body, so it's clear to everybody that there is magic at play here. But this look of disappointment like sort of begins to cross Vitaria's face as Nazira begins her deception. But it is the interplay of Quilla that causes her some consternation, some confusion, some lack of lack of a assumption or determination that Nazira is deceiving her, because as well as Vitaria might know Nazira, she doesn't know Quilla nearly as well, and suddenly when there's this other party involved, it adds this confounding factor.
Yeah, she knows I'm a bad liar.
Yeah, she knows the ways you lie. She's been watching you since you were a wee babe.
Exactly.
She says,
What if Quilla buys it?
your connection to these fleeting companions is a handicap you will outgrow with time. But I can remember a time when I found such things significant. You can go and see to your friends' needs and say goodbye to them. Do not dally, Nazira. If you are not within the communications array for the Apoapsis reverie, you may be left out of the unity for all time.
How long do we have?
Well, maybe your own motivation should guide your sense of time. Maybe that is what should determine how committed you are to this purpose. And maybe that should be what you weigh against these seconds and moments you waste with your friends. Come back
The quickest way to the Zephyr.
when you're done, and perhaps you'll find us, or perhaps you will find just me.
Very well. Thank you for understanding.
Grace says, "Excuse us," and points towards the door, telling her to leave.
Come along, Gray.
Great, want to drive.
Let's get this open for Shippy.
Maybe later. All right, I will turn and start going out the door.
Okay.
I'll follow.
And I'm also keeping an eye out for any sensors that might indicate scrying.
Xerox is like
Give me a perception
dragging
check.
Gray out by his head.
Perception modified by intelligence, please.
Intelligence and proficiency, or just intelligence?
Proficiency, if you've got it.
To perception.
Perception,
I
yep.
do have perception proficiency, so 27.
27. There are 3 inscribed panels that you've noticed on the walls some height up that are slowly, that as Vitaria moved around the chamber, were slowly shifting to continually face them.
I see. Okay. And nothing follows us out of the room as we leave?
Nothing follows you that you can see.
Okay. And there's nothing out here.
Your guides have disappeared, having delivered you to their designated objective.
They discharged their duty.
Your sister, sure.
Yeah, you gotta say about.
She has. Let's get a little further away. I don't want.
Let's
I'll leave it there and I'll walk a little further away because I don't want her to overhear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's look for that
And I'll
path to the
say-
Zephyr.
Go ahead, Quilla. Sorry, what was that?
Oh, we'll just follow up that with let's look for that path to the Zephyr.
We're not going to the Zephyr.
Quilla
I'll pull
nods.
up that. Oh yeah. Okay. I thought we were already further away. Sorry. That's hard sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
When we get a little further away, I'll say, I'm sorry, Gray. She is, isn't she? Let's look for where she actually is located, and I'll pull out the schematics, and I'm going to look for that room.
What room?
The transubstantiation array.
Ah. Alright, so you guys depart this chamber and you bring up you guys walk back up the tunnel a little ways and you bring up the the school book.
Mm-hmm.
Looking through the schematics, give me an investigation check.
Nice. Just trying to figure out.
Okay.
Investigation is 30.
Are you gonna need any more help with the roll?
Yeah. I'll first
A
go.
little bardic inspiration on top of
Yeah,
that.
just curious.
We needed 40. The DC was 40. You quickly find that looking for a room, like looking through this database, this schematic for a room called the transubstantiation array is fruitless. You determine that this is, rather than a specific location, a system that allows people in various different places to interact or interact with crew and controls in other parts of the mountain, rather than requiring them to actually physically traverse the miles and miles of space inside this gargantuan construct. With a 30, There is no central room by which to use the transubstantiation array. However, this is rather a system that would allow you, if you could access it, to basically cast a version of yourself into virtually any significant place in Mount Inaru.
Okay. Oh.
And with a 30, furthermore, you realize that the only difficulty would be in finding such a place to access the system. Like, there is no like room that you have to go to stand in to do it, but that doesn't mean there aren't physical systems and such that maintain and propagate this system. With the schematics, just like real life.
Sorry, I had to yell at the cat.
Thanks for muting.
Which is just like real life.
And lastly, with that 30, you identify a systems node that controls this and many, at least doesn't control, but continues the propagation of this and other such systems around the mountain. There are nodes throughout the mountain that you could access potentially, and if you were able to basically like hack into them, would give you the capacity to use the system itself.
Okay. Where is the nearest node?
There is in this chamber. Near this chamber, there are actually 4 that are roughly, like, more or less equidistant. Like, there looks like to be like 4 nodes that are placed equidistant from each other and this central chamber to, it seems like, help like balance and spread out systems demands. So there are 4 within a 15-minute walk.
We should choose one that's on the way to the Zephyr.
Mhm.
I know we're not going to the Zephyr now, Nazira, but we might as well see if, the path seems clear.
It's also an interesting thought. She has to be at one of these nodes as well.
Right.
My guess is she would be in the core, near it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Nazira, with that 30, the distinction that you've been able to determine from the schematic is that there is there is like effectively an appropriate use of this system that would not require you accessing one of these nodes, but to hack into it, you would need to like go into one of these places and try and like figure out the actual like mechanical or arcane process that drives it. But
Where's Steve Boop?
but it's possible that Vitaria is just like in another place and is like hooked into the system, and it's like, yep, cast me down there, great,
Mm-hmm.
and isn't
the
necessarily in such a
reason
node.
She's
Said
not
the
your
things.
mainframe.
She doesn't necessarily have to be.
Because she has
There,
appropriate access to the system, and you do not.
Right. Nazira's reasoning is that that's where there's apparently like dangerous things all around this place. And that's like kind of the headquarters where the keepers and such have been, in the center part of it. So Nazira's reasoning is that she'd be somewhat near the center. But that might not be true.
They sound like assumptions.
But the center sounds big. I mean, it seems
What
like
was that?
the center sounds big, like from that aspect, like the area where the keepers live versus the area outside. The center seems pretty big, right? I mean, it still could be a lot of ground to cover.
There's the core, which is the long shaft going through the whole mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the heart, which is the Zephyr drive. There's the communications array, which is above the Zephyr drive. And then there's something else at the bottom. I think it was the Zephyr depot, but I'm not 100% sure.
You got a few things a little bit misaligned there. The Zephyr Drive is the chamber you were just in is basically the navigation chamber, the navigation room.
Okay.
The engine room is down below, and that's presumably where the actual Zephyr interaction happens. And then far above is where the communications array is. And all of this, of course, is inverted when describing the mountain in space. It's from mountain to a top.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys were just in the navigation chamber. Effectively, from your perspective right now, as up is towards the bottom of the mountain, up is towards the drive, which is the bottom, and down is towards the communications array, which is the top.
I was thinking of it as an ice cream cone, but then I kept worrying about the ice cream falling.
My imaginary ice cream cone. Oh.
That's how you get ants.
So we are at 8:50 p.m. So I just want to bring that to your attention, and maybe we should end the situation with you guys creating in the next 10 minutes a plan of action.
Good idea. I think we should go to one of, what's the appropriate use of the node, or of the system, Mark? You said it doesn't require the nodes?
If you had an actual, effectively if you had a login to the system, you could potentially access this tool from virtually anywhere in the mountain or something similar, like something, you don't know what exactly would be the confines of its ability, but you're looking for a backdoor into it because you do not have a login right now.
Because you are not an authorized user.
Exactly. You lost your magic tongue.
I know. So sad.
I'm kind of afraid
Okay,
we're
so
running
I
out
think
of
we should
time.
go to one of the nodes.
Yes.
I mean, that's going to take 15 minutes or so. Aren't we running close on time with this thing getting to its destination? Seems like something we got to
We are,
do.
but we don't know how long we actually have.
So it makes more sense to deal with this situation and maybe stop us from getting there than running around and possibly getting to our destination.
We don't even, this is just an
If we
arcane
go to
projection. We
the
don't even know
Zephyr,
if we can stop
we can
her.
interrupt the
Yeah.
fuel supply.
See, the problem is if we did something to upset her now and we got into a fight, we wouldn't actually be harming her at all.
Yeah, we don't know.
So
if
that's
we
why
would
we
dispel
have to
this
find
thing or
where
it
she
just comes
actually
back.
is.
Well, if we go to the fuel supply and we fuck that up,
I mean, we're at the
then
engine
they'd have to
room.
deal with us.
We're at,
You just go to the engine and hit it with my
I was
until they show up.
so tempted.
Come to me.
There was a line dropped about monkeys are afraid of lightning. It took every bit of my power not to be like, oh, I'm just gonna blast that. Like,
I know.
I'm just gonna blast that thing.
I
And
just want to shoot it.
we'll see what happens.
I know, as soon as she started talking, it just made me want to hurt her.
Yeah, excellent work. Very wonderful. I was doing that on purpose.
No, but I
Contain
think,
yourself.
And I just want to say how hard it is to do all this RP, serious RP, while I'm remote and everyone else is in person.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's been
Watch
a
me
little bit
Oh,
difficult.
thank you.
you don't want to step on that.
But all right. So what do we have a consensus on what we plan to do?
My general feeling is we're at the helm. If we want to stop this thing from flying any further, this is a good opportunity to stop it. But
The
I'm
helm
down
is a
for
good
whatever.
place. That makes sense. We
That
still
doesn't-
have to deal with Vitaria and all the keepers.
Right, because she can probably request them to help her.
And do we get the feeling
Yeah.
that she could come back into this zone? Like if we do defeat her or whatever, could she just pop herself back in again? Is that
Probably.
the understanding that we receive from the? which he was able to divine.
God. You did get a 30 on your quick investigation into the transubstantiation array, so I feel obliged to provide all the information about this system. And this could play a significant role in your plans. It appears that the system is not only able to make a facsimile of yourself appear and be able to manipulate an environment in another part of the mountain, you are able to translate most arcane power and focuses through that aspect, that that version of yourself. So you think, from what you can tell here, Vitaria, or sorry, I'm using your true name, Mazira. Mazira, one of the things that you think is that Vitaria could potentially have full access to her spellcasting through this form. And if it is destroyed, it could probably rematerialize itself within a minute or two.
That's what I was suspecting.
Yeah.
That's why I was hoping to find out where she actually is.
But we did see the 3 panels if we
But-
break them.
Honestly, if we kill her, she'll probably just go into my clone again.
Yeah, I think Gray's onto something. I think it's we're at the helm. This is a good opportunity to press the wrong button.
Do we want to attack this as one group, or do we want to split? So there's a couple of folks that are going to the panel to try to get into the
She
system.
can go back in, try to distract her away, and then we can come after.
And should we get any reconnaissance beforehand, just so we know what we're dealing with and
I don't know if we have time.
where to go if things go badly?
Yeah, send Hootsworthy. Oh wait.
I don't-
Yeah.
I really do tend to think that even if we destroy this, she's gonna go crazy on us and attack us.
Wait, can you look through Hootsworthy's eyes
At
to
which
see?
point,
It's too far away.
even if we destroy her, she's going to do the same thing. Like in anything we do to this form, it's not going to reflect back to the person. So it's just going to waste our spells.
I think we need to do something to this room, or
I mean, we saw the things that are projecting her into this place. Those panels that kept moving to face her.
Mark.
If we get rid of those, we may eliminate her ability to project into this space, and I think
it's a good idea. If we can destroy the panels, then maybe we can take control of
That's
this
a good
chamber.
thought.
but distract her so that we can get the jump on trying to do that. We can.
Mark.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, ask your
Mark,
question.
if
That was
there-
my idea. I'll stop talking.
It's like pause, and then we both go again. Just pause.
We're both on the same wavelength here.
Yeah. If we wanted to disable that system in a room, say the helm that we're in, is there a way, could we see a way to do that from the schematic?
At that point, you're really talking about potentially finding a backdoor or breaking an element of this. I would say that I'm to decide how far this particular 30 is going to get you. So this was a quick investigation into this thing, but I think I've given enough for a role that does not require a time investment in this scenario where time is a factor. So further information about more details about how you might affect this, will require more investigation and more time. But you do think that this, like one of those nodes, would be the place to investigate further, because like the schematic again is like, it's a blueprint. It's not going to tell you everything you need to like counter, like arcane softwares. If we're going to continue using this metaphor, it's not going to provide everything you need to know. There's still some things you're going to have to figure out, because what you've also learned is that this place has been modified since the creation of these schematics. The Keepers and Vitaria have discussed a little bit about how this place was taken from its other use and made for theirs. So there are some things that you're concerned may not be like one-to-one on the schematic as well. But yeah, I think with a 30, I've given you a lot of good little tidbits there, and any more is going to require a time investment of some kind to investigate further.
I'd be inclined to think maybe we should, some of us should go to the node, and some of us should go back in and try to smash things up. I don't know, splitting the party is always scary.
Dangerous.
Especially when there's a powerful wizard in the room.
Yeah, but we've got our own powerful
No,
wizard.
we don't know. I think it's the first node is only, the nodes are only 15 minutes walk away. I think we would have enough time to go there and get back. They were trying to get us to have a full rest. So I don't think we're quite
That's a good point.
on the verge of being at apoapsis.
Yeah.
I hope not.
The other thing is to keep in mind, Nazira, once you access the node, she might be able to tell. I don't know if you know how the system
might.
works, but the ruse might be up as far as us going to get Zephyr.
That's true.
As soon as you access
I
the
do
node,
think,
it's possible she'll know.
Deep Boop is more inclined toward like objects like that, like sort
It's
of.
like, I fixed the music box, I can fix a node.
Yeah, like he does. So he might be the one we want to look at the notes.
Yeah.
Although I do want to do it too. But anyway, yeah. I feel like we should get more information. I feel like we should. Oh, there are your faces. That's nice.
Yeah, I guess we really don't need the table all that much.
I've been seeing everyone's shoulders.
Now you can see our dark faces, like the Council and XCOM or something.
That's right.
Well, that
This will
sounds
help
like
pretty
a
good. Maybe feel it.
something evidence,
Perfect. I especially love the skull underneath it too.
Really sells the look.
Yeah. Oh, what were you saying, Mark?
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like you guys are approaching a plan. Feel free, of course. I just kind of want to end the game and break out of like in-character conversation. Feel free to discuss out of character also plans and anything you guys want to discuss. Blah blah. I don't care, obviously. And we'll start next game with you guys coming to a conclusion on a plan
Yeah.
to either break up or split the party and go for the chamber and the node simultaneously, or try and do a little sneaky node visit without Vitaria noticing, or what have you. Yeah. So, but yeah, like I don't mean to tell everybody to shut up right now. I just want to say, like, yeah, officially, let's just just call it, and we can.
And we can play the game later.
Yeah.
People cannot be sly about putting stuff away.
Next time.
Yeah.
That'll be so much better.
Maybe we can have a full house next time as well too. That'd be
So
sick.